aren't run by an establishment system that's either medical or military or bureaucratic or whatever, to the point where they can't even say or do anything. That's why Mexico is actually taking action against it, because you're allowed to actually question things like, why are there additives in the vaccinations like hormones? And,
I'll say that. I was down in Mexico sport fishing in Isla Mujeres, and I think my family's like, we ran into more fans there than we do in the U.S. I mean, the Mexicans were awake, man. Mexicans that didn't even really speak English. Alex Jones, we love you, we watch. And then I'd be like, hotel managers were listeners, and then we'd go rent a boat, and they'd be listeners, and it was just like crazy how awake the Mexicans are.
And in Germany, too. You go over there and you have cancer, they don't say, okay, we're going to radiate you and give you chemo. They're going to say, hey, well, let's look into some ozone therapy. Let's look into some turmeric. Let's look into some iodine. They're going to say things like that. They're not going to immediately start radiating you and insult you if you question it.
I want to get to some major health news and some major InfoWars news, but first we do have the Eisenhower quote. And can you guys pull up the video of that, too, when you get a chance? I want to just start playing it obnoxiously, because I was going to quote this on This Week. Oh, by the way, there it is. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. And he went on to say, the military-industrial complex run by a technocratic and cultural elite, the eugenicist, the transhumanist. They were in control then. He was getting briefed on the plan, and you watch that whole speech, 21 minutes, he's nervous. And I'm not going to go any further, but some of his family, some of his daughters and granddaughters that married the LBJs, they live in town, and they know about this stuff. And I'm not saying they're a perfect family. They're involved in a lot of, hell, they own like 2 or 3 big high-rise buildings downtown. The point is that they know what's going on. I mean, anyone who's been inside the system knows this is the agenda. Now, shifting gears, I didn't plug anything yesterday in 3 hours because I got so upset about the news. I skipped, I think, 3 network breaks that cost us thousands of dollars each time I do that. And I start running low on fuel because this operation is like a bomber. We've got the weapons, the truth. We've got the initiative. We know who the globalists are. But we need the funding. That's the fuel. And I call this mid-air refueling. We have how many products now on InfoWarsLife.com? Because I've got a very exciting announcement. How many products, Anthony?
I don't know the count, numerous.
I mean, it's got to be like, I think it's like
15?
I think it's 15, 14 or 15 new proprietary products. Some of them are just from the biggest labs that are the most trusted in the country that we private label, but we soup them up. We say, well, could you add this or could you increase the dosage of that? And they're like, absolutely. We're glad people want to buy this stuff from us and make it even better. But we go to the best. In fact, we have a lot of the studies and stuff on the site. We're going to add more on what was added today, where they keep coming back going, there's nothing. This is beyond California standards. How is this happening? From some of the biggest, tell folks our labs we use. Not the labs that manufacture it, but the labs that test it.
Right. We'll use NSF certified, which is above and beyond GMP. We also use GMP certified labs. But what happens over and over again is we get these tested for the metals, make sure they're super clean. And every single time, even I can't believe, it's just 0, 0, 0, 0.
Yeah, but we've already tested it. I mean, these companies have already done it. They're the highest rated. Yeah. We do it again.
No, absolutely.
But I know we have some of them. I want to go in and actually put those on. Remember we talked about this a few weeks ago? I want to go add those today. Can we do that?
Yeah, and we published the iodine ones about a year ago, and people were super shocked.
I know, but I want to add the new ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
The what was it? The vitamin D3 and the vitamin 12.
We have tests on everything. We do independent lab tests after the NSF certified labs test it, which we don't even have to do that, but we do anyway, just to double, triple, quadruple check.
Because we know we're targets.
Yep, exactly. In case they come after us and say, hey, you don't have the test, we have 5 tests. We don't just have 1, we have 5.
Yeah, and we have from the biggest labs in the country making it, but also testing it separately. So we're launching a new product. I am 41 now, about to be 42, and everybody knows you hit 40. It's mainline recommended that you take saw palmetto and things like that. This has got 10 ingredients, but you can look into what selenium does, what copper does. These are the pure types, because they've got a lot of dirty ones out there. Vitamin D3, zinc, the key plant sterols, and other ingredients. Oil of oregano is one of the products, but now we have Prostagard that has come out. And you hear people say, oh, we've got this, it's free, just pay $10 shipping and handling. Folks, that's just saw palmetto, and it's not that strong. And I'm not knocking other people putting this out. This is a Rolls-Royce private labeled. It's as high with other sellers. This is our proprietary blend of $29.95. This is $19.95. We have a limited first run of this. Prostagard, I've been taking a leading competitor for the last 2 years because talk to my doctor about it. It really does not just help you, as everybody knows, it improves everything.
And that one was $40.
That one was $40.
This one is $19.95. And this is our own blend. You cannot get this anywhere else. This is exclusively formulated by the NSF lab for us. This is our own InfoWars Life formula. It is ultra reduced price, and it has saw palmetto, lycopene, and by the way, saw palmetto is great. I'm going to read to you something from the Mayo Clinic about saw palmetto, which I was surprised to read today. But lycopene is considered the new saw palmetto. And when I talked to those the scientists at the lab, I guess it was about a year ago, they said, yeah, saw palmetto is awesome, and you should be taking that. And most formulas are just a high dose of that, and they charge you $40. But you really need to look into lycopene. And I did, and I talked to a few doctors about it. This is the new saw palmetto. And then we have vitamin D3 thrown in there, selenium, copper, zinc, total of 10 different ingredients. Now,
they all work together in synergy.
They all work together in synergy. They're hand-picked. They're formulated in such a way that they're not going to compete with each other. And what's interesting to me is that traditionally, all the ways back to the American Indians, they were using a number of these ingredients, saying that for some reason, they just knew that when they took it, their reproductive health was better. They just knew that, oh, you need to take these berries. And that's what we took the saw palmetto from. We took it from berries. It's a berry form of saw palmetto, which is arguably one of the best kinds. So the American Indians were using this for countless years. The Mayans were using this. They called it their health tonic. They called it their reproductive tonic.
Bottom line, everybody knows about saw palmetto. We just add all these other ingredients to supercharge. It's organic, it's concentrated, and it supports a hardcore operation fighting for basic human liberties across the board. We need your support. InfoWarsLife.com. Shop with the good guys so we can continue this operation, expand it in the face of the tyrants. Again, ladies and gentlemen, InfoWarsLife.com. Or you can call 888-253-3139. It's Prostagard from InfoWarsLife.com at an extremely discounted introductory offer out of the gates. I want to thank you all for your support. You have helped build this operation. We couldn't do it without you. InfoWarsLife.com, Prostagard. And so now America and the rest of the world is waking up to the spy state, major corporations working with governments to take over markets and surveil the public for tyrannical purposes, the war on the press. And so they have every major news show in the country that we've looked at. The Five, yesterday, and others on Fox, just making fun of me, saying I'm totally making up any police state, and there's no plan to take over this summer. Well, we never said that. But they take out of context where we're wargaming the whole thing, talking about it. And I'm like, this looks like an invasion plan, calling us hostile. Oh, my gosh, he says they're invading. What do you think all this is? It's a soft invasion to condition the military to accept it. I'm going to play next hour when Gary Haven and Mike Norris are in studio with us, part of that Five piece. I never even got to the ABC report, NBC reports. I can't even watch them all. It's just the same script, the same deception over and over again. Briefly, before I get into this other news on the NSA front, because I interrupted Anthony, never let him got to this, from Mayo Clinic, saw palmetto. This is a Mayo Clinic. And it goes into it. It's popularly in Europe to treat symptoms of enlarged prostate, although it's not considered a standard of care in the United States. It's most popular herbal treatment in this condition. More than 2 million American men use palmetto for enlarged prostate and commonly recommended as an alternative treatment by the Food and Drug Administration. You hear that? It's by the government recommended. Many studies, makes me actually question it now, I'm joking. Many studies report that saw palmetto may be as effective as the hormonal agent Fistitride or Procar and may cause fewer side effects. It just goes on for page after page. Well, we take all this other stuff that's known to help and fuse it together with Prostagard at InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. This is the Rolls-Royce of prostate saw palmetto-based products. We're very proud of it, and the price is incredibly low. Thank you for your support. When we come back, intelligence leaders cite Texas attack before deadline on NSA surveillance and our guest.
Child Protective Services. The name says it all. CPS claims that they are out to protect children from abusive and neglectful parents, but is that just a ruse in order to take healthy children away from good families? To place them in the foster care system where they receive bounties from the federal government? That's right, the average reimbursement to state and local government for each child taken into foster care is about $6,000 a month. The foster care provider receives about $600 a month of that. Therefore, each one of these kids forced into foster care are worth approximately $5,000 to CPS.
Two foster parents had criminal records, a son living there with multiple felonies, and a convicted sex offender visiting and sometimes caring for the children. She refused to arrange an adoption. Her CPS supervisors responded with this memo recommending the adoption should proceed quickly.
Our theory is that the basis for this is the tie to the federal money. That every time a child is not placed in a home, the state of Kentucky, through its cabinet, is losing federal money.
Child Protective Services in Pennsylvania was at her doorstep, taking her one-day-old baby because they thought Liz was abusing drugs. But what the hospital didn't consider more closely was poppy seeds.
Grab your baby and don't resist and don't fight me, okay?
We reached out to CPS. They say they can't specifically comment on this case because of privacy law, but we wanted to know what the rules are and what rights parents have. CPS says we conduct a risk assessment of the child's safety and rely heavily on the direction of healthcare providers. And now Anna and Alex find themselves fighting for Sammy's return and for their rights as parents.
Where there's children, there are pedophiles. They're in schools and they're in churches and they're everywhere where they can get their hands on children. So we know that that's true. And it's got to be brought to an end. It's got to be completely exposed for what it is. And in my opinion, it needs to completely be dissolved. I don't see any good left in Child Protective Services.
Senator Nancy Schaefer and her husband Bruce were found dead today at their Havisham County home.
The bodies of former state Senator Nancy Schaefer and her husband Bruce were found today at their Habersham County home. Investigators say both had been shot.
Preliminarily, it looks to be a murder-suicide. The GBI has 6 agents on the scene, 2 crime scene specialists. There will be a thorough investigation.
CPS adversary Senator Nancy Schaefer and her husband's life met a very abrupt end. There are far too many oddities surrounding her life for it to have been anything but an assassination due to her outspoken crusade to uncover one of the prime child smuggling areas in the United States, Atlanta, Georgia. Bruce was retired and the couple didn't appear to be in any type of dire financial crisis. Friends who knew the couple best state that Bruce would simply not have had the capability to kill his wife. Nancy was actively exposing corruption within the Department of Family and Child Services, including actions by the DFCS director in the county where she lived. Nancy's husband, Bruce, was highly supportive of Nancy's work for decades and would have had little or no reason to suddenly try to kill her at such a critical juncture in her career.
Imagine you're a happy family living in Central Texas in a suburb of Austin, Round Rock. And one night you decide to smoke some marijuana after your 2-year-old daughter's gone to bed while you watch a movie. Something over 100 million Americans are estimated to do every single week. A good secret police neighbor smells the marijuana, calls the police, and they come with the CPS and take your 2-year-old happy daughter who'd never been in the hospital and never been sick and never been beaten up. You go for weekly visits. All right, that's just a few minutes from a special report that aired last night on the Nightly News dealing with the CPS connection to pedophile rings and tying it into the 10 children being taken in Kentucky. The full video interview's on Infowars.com. Stay with us. Our special guest will be in studio. Ladies and gentlemen, we're live, well into the second hour, broadcasting worldwide. Our guest will be with us till the bottom of the next hour or till the very end of the next hour if they want. I don't want to exhaust them. And Mike Norris and Gary Gavin are both in studio. They're both friends, been friends for years. And, of course, they are filmmakers, entrepreneurs. Mr. Gavin, of course, started...
Haven.
Haven. I always say it wrong. Haven. You can slap me around all you want. I don't have teleprompters, though.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Mr. Haven started Curves. And the reason my memory messed up, I was trying to think, where did you start it originally?
In Harlingen, Texas.
In Harlingen, Texas. And now you've made a major movie with Mr. Norris over here that I was honored to be in, that's coming out in the future. We're going to talk about that. Tell us about the film and